Well, happy Tuesday, everyone. It is digital host A.J. Wuest, welcoming you all back to Before the 4, where I go through 48's top stories and then some before our 4 p.m. newscast. And we have quite a bit of stories to jump into today, but if you are just now joining me here on Before the 4, I want to thank you for spending just a little bit of your Tuesday afternoon with me. Anyone who is new, comment. This is my first time watching. I can see anyone who comments right here, and I will welcome you properly. But without further ado, I think it is time we jump into today's top stories. And of course, starting things off in Huntsville, 48's Callie Neese will be bringing you all a story regarding the Huntsville City Council. Now, recently the council stopped broadcasting public comment online or on TV, which has upset many here in Madison County, especially those who watch city council meetings online. Now, Callie has been working today to learn as much as she can about their reasoning for not providing such comments, and she will have updates for you all coming up at 4. And of course, staying in Huntsville, a 13-year-old is recovering after he was accidentally shot in the eye by a pellet from a pellet gun. Now, the incident happened on July 4th when 13-year-old Brendan Simbeck was hanging out with a friend. Around 10 p.m. that night, Simbeck was accidentally shot in the eye by that friend. Now, the pellet completely went through his eye. He was rushed to Birmingham for treatment. Simbeck currently has fragments in his brain and is currently in a medically induced coma. And I am certainly wishing him a speedy recovery after such a horrific situation. But 48's Aria Pons will have updates for you all on this story coming up in our evening newscasts. Now, the next story, 48's Aria Pons will also be bringing you an update on a former Colbert County principal who was recently fired after putting a student in alternative school for an alcohol violation without notifying the superintendent or the board. Now, several motions have been filed in the case of Melcha Satchel versus the Colbert County Board of Education. A judge heard arguments today from both sides of the motions to reinstate Satchel as the principal of Colbert County High School. We will have updates for you all on this case coming up, so make sure you stick around for tonight's evening newscast. And now a very sad story in Marshall County. A 2-year-old girl from Arab passed away last night. 2-year-old Violet Satterfield, who you see on screen right now, was found in a pool last week, and she passed away due to her injuries. Her mother, Rebecca Satterfield, announced the news on Facebook just last night, writing, "We only had 2 years with you, but they were filled with the happiest moments of my life." The post read, "I will carry you with me in my veins until the day I see you again, my love." In such a tragic situation, my thoughts are certainly with that family who's mourning the loss of their 2-year-old daughter. And now in Decatur, police are investigating after 2 people were shot Sunday night. Decatur police say they were called to the Chevron gas station on Danville Road after a shooting was reported. Upon arrival, they found 2 people suffering from gunshot wounds. Both were taken to Huntsville Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Both a car and a home with people inside were also shot. Police have not revealed any details about a possible suspect at this time. And now in state news, an Alabama lawmaker was arrested on 2 felony charges by the Attorney General's office earlier today. State Representative Kelvin Jamichael Lawrence of Lowndes County was arrested and charged with both second-degree forgery and second-degree criminal possession of a forged instrument. The indictment against Lawrence alleges the intent to defraud, falsify, made, completed, or altered a builder's license. According to the Attorney General, Lawrence was first elected to represent Alabama's 69th district in 2014. Alabama law requires removal for any elected official who has been convicted of a felony. Lawrence is currently charged with 2 Class C felonies, and he could serve up to 10 years in prison. Now, in case you missed it, yesterday 48's Nick Ballinger covered a story about a man accused of shooting and killing a tow truck driver. He is now out on bond and currently in the state of Nevada. Let's take a listen.
Warren Shao is charged with murdering a tow truck driver during a repossession last December. Investigators say Shao murdered 38-year-old Jason Click outside his home, saying he thought someone was stealing his car. Shao is currently out of jail on a $60,000 bond, and his bondsman says he's in Nevada.
And if we do catch them out of state, and it has not been, if we have not been notified or something, then we will revoke the bond.
Under Alabama law, someone out on bond can't leave the state without notifying the court. However, the owner of Betta Bond says Shao told him exactly where he was headed, Nevada.
We have to feel completely comfortable with it, because you do have those individuals that will come up with some type of an excuse. This specific individual, no, I don't feel like he's a flight risk or anything like that.
But that's not sitting right with prosecutors in the Madison County District Attorney's Office, who say Shao never had permission to leave Alabama and is in violation of his bond terms. Local attorney Mark McDaniel, who is not affiliated with this case, offered his view.
If the defendant bonds out of jail, there is a statement in there what the defendant can and cannot do, and one of them is they can't leave the state.
The real question is if Shao will show for a trial. A date has not yet been set.
Well, thank you, Nick. And now in the Shoals, what is the deal with the lack of water in the Zip City community? When will the water be restored? 48's Aria Pons has the answer.
People help take care of me, and I just like trying to help take care of other folks.
Joshua Watkins is one of the residents currently without water in the Zip City area. He says it's easy to forget how to live without water.
Especially in the morning, you wake up and go in the kitchen to fix some coffee, and you cut the faucet on, and it don't work. So you do forget a little bit, yeah.
Watkins sat outside for hours handing out water that he bought himself. He says he's very worried about the elderly people that live in this area and even offered to deliver some water to them himself if needed.
We have a very close-knit community here. Everything's built around the high school here behind us. Everything's built around Wilson High School, and I was born and raised here.
Officials with the Chisholm Heights Water Authority say the 2 water line breaks they found are now fixed. However, it will take a while before the tank is filled back up and water is flowing to all houses. Lauderdale County EMA Director Brad Holmes says residents still have to be cautious, though.
We want to make sure that all of the people within our community are safe, and so testing is an important step to ensuring that happens.
The Alabama Department of Environmental Management will have to test the water to make sure it's safe, and the tank has to be pretty full in order for them to do so. Even once the tank is filled, residents will have to boil their water for a while.
Water may be flowing through the system right now, but boiling water is always important, and a good standard to work by is to allow the water to have a rolling boil for at least 1 minute prior to consuming it, and that also includes things like ice makers within refrigerators and freezers. Those, I think, are often overlooked.
Well, thank you, Aria. And now in some national news. NBC's Kathy Park reports as Hurricane Beryl makes its way through the state of Texas. Let's watch.
This morning, Texas is trying to recover after taking a direct hit from Beryl, knocking out power to more than 2 million across the Lone Star State, a major concern in the midst of a nationwide heat wave. Houston under a heat advisory with a heat index today as high as 105. Many trying to cope without power, cleaning up from the storm, which landed in Texas Monday morning as a Category 1 hurricane, battering the coast with winds nearing 90 miles per hour, strong enough to destroy property on land and at sea. A destructive storm surge also flooding coastal communities. Emergency crews rescuing dozens of people trapped by floodwaters. Beryl's powerful winds uprooting and shredding trees, spawning more than a dozen tornadoes in Louisiana, Arkansas, and Texas, like this one in Jasper.
Just sounded like a train coming through, and yeah, we could hear the trees falling.
Neighborhoods turned into rivers, major highways impassable.
Do you think the hurricane would be this bad in Houston?
No, I think it's a wake-up call.
But now that the storm has passed, a spirit of resilience as neighbors pitch in to clean up. And now as the power issues continue in brutal Texas temps, the extreme heat impacting more than 135 million people coast to coast, breaking records across the country. and even causing this bridge in the Bronx to get stuck open after the steel expanded.
Well, thank you. Certainly a frightening situation. And staying in national news, let's take a listen to the latest on President Joe Biden's health. NBC's Peter Alexander reports.
Overnight, President Biden's personal doctor confirming that a neurologist who specializes in Parkinson's saw the president as part of his physical exams. The president's doctor saying in a letter that the neurologist, Dr. Kevin Kennard, has examined President Biden for each of his annual exams, adding the president has not seen a neurologist outside of his annual physical. All of it following a tense White House briefing.
Has the president been treated for Parkinson's? No. Is he being treated for Parkinson's? No, he's not. Is he taking medication for Parkinson's? No.
The administration under pressure to explain why Kennard visited the White House 8 times in 8 months, according to logs. The president's doctor saying Kennard held, quote, regular neurology clinics at the White House Medical Clinic in support of thousands of active duty military staff assigned there. It comes as President Biden is trying to put an end to the post-debate drama, calling into MSNBC's Morning Joe and issuing a challenge to those who say he should drop out.
I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. If any of these guys don't think I should run against me, go ahead, announce for president. Challenge me at the convention.
The president late Monday also calling into a meeting of the influential Congressional Black Caucus that's still supporting him, like other key House Democrats, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Joe Biden is our nominee. He is not leaving this race. He is in this race, and I support him.
So far, 9 congressional Democrats have called on the president to leave the race.
I think he should step aside. I think it's become clear that he's not the best person to carry the Democratic message.
Former President Trump in his first post-debate interview telling Fox News host Sean Hannity by phone he believes President Biden will stay in the race.
He's got an ego and he doesn't want to quit.
Mr. Trump adding he expects to face Vice President Kamala Harris if President Biden is forced out, and that he may wait on his own vice presidential announcement as the Democrats sort out their path forward.
We wanted to see what they're doing, to be honest.
Thank you. And now in sports, the Rocket City Trash Boys are back in town all week to battle it out against the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. The Pandas currently stand with an overall 42-38 record, as the Wahoos are 44-36. Rocket City has certainly started the second half of this baseball season strong, securing 9 of its past 12 games and currently on a 3-game win streak. Let's hope they can keep it in the win column. And tonight is Mullet Night at Toyota Field to help support Princess Haley's Hope Foundation. So if you're all business in the front and of course party in the back, tonight might just be the night for you to head on out there. And staying in Rocket City sports, today the Huntsville Havoc signed former UAH Charger to the squad. Forward Noah Finstrom will make his return to Huntsville after finishing his college career at Wisconsin-Stevens Point, where he earned 52 points in 69 games. Really cool stuff right there. All right, now let's take a listen to a really cool story about a man biking the entire 13 colonies to help bring people together during this election year. Andres Rendon reports.
That's what's going to push Adam Boyd in his 1,200-mile trek through the original 13 colonies, from Exeter, New Hampshire to Savannah, Georgia.
That's where it all started from, and I wanted to showcase our nation's history from the beginning. And I figured by doing that, it can really showcase where we came from and where we are now.
It's called the Tour de Patriot. Boyd has been raising money for first responders and veterans for their service, but according to Boyd, the ride is also a way to bring people together in a time of political divide.
I think we're missing perspective on other people's views and the way that we look at things, and I think that can be really important for us to do right before such an important election, important debate, because this project is not about a left or a right thing. It's not about Democrats or Republicans. It's about us as Americans coming together and seeing a vision moving forward.
Boyd said he heard many people say their vote doesn't matter, but he says if one person is able to take on a 1,200-mile bike ride all by themselves, then one vote at the poll can make an impact.
Kind of took inspiration from Paul Revere's ride. You know, he was just one person on that day in 1775 to learn that the British were coming. I want to kind of ring that metaphoric bell, or, you know, light that metaphoric light to say, like, hey, listen, one person can make a difference.
And when it comes to his training, well, let's just say he's off to a slow start.
Well, I think total I've done 24 miles in the last 20 years.
And that's not all.
I don't have a bike, so you kind of got to work with what you have.
Despite his slow start, Boyd holds the meaning of his journey at the top of his mind, honor those who fought for our country, and hope to bring different people with different perspectives together.
Why shouldn't I believe that this can work out? I believe that we can do anything that we set our mind to.
Andres Rendon, 13 News.
Thank you, Andres. A super cool story right there. And let's go into the stories you're just not going to want to miss in tonight's evening newscast. The latest on a new lighting project on the US 31 Causeway indicator, 2,000 pounds of frozen chicken recalled, and how to help prevent early morning grogginess. These are all just some of the stories you're just not going to want to miss in tonight's newscast. And another thing you're just not going to want to miss, the 48 first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis to help you stay in the know of how the weather might pan out for the remainder of the week. And it was certainly a rainy day today, especially as we neared closer to the afternoon. It was coming down pretty hard earlier. We were watching from the newsroom, so stay in the know of how the weather might pan out from 48 First Alert meteorologist. And now it is time for my favorite part of the day, and that, of course, is Facebook Fun. If you're new to Before the Four, you don't know what Facebook Fun is. It is where we typically ask a question on Facebook. It's usually around 11:45, noon. Around that time, and we ask you guys a question, and you all typically respond very accordingly to that question. And speaking of responses and comments, I'm not seeing any right now, but yeah, like I said earlier, if you feel led to, feel free to leave a comment, and I will try to shout you guys out if I see it. But with that said, let's go into today's Facebook question, and let's pull it up for you all. Today we asked, who is your favorite TV character? My favorite TV character is 100% SpongeBob SquarePants. I grew up watching the show. He is 100% my favorite TV character. But let's see who all y'all's were. And Loloda Hughes, she said Lucy on I Love Lucy. It was her favorite TV show growing up in the 50s. That is super awesome. Just an iconic show. I Love Lucy. I remember watching it when I was little growing up. But it's such an awesome, wholesome show. So thank you so much for commenting. Let's see what else you all had to say. Cindy said Beth Dutton, and I believe that is from the show Yellowstone. Very good show there. Cindy, thank you so much for commenting. Sam said it is a tie between George on Seinfeld and Howard on The Big Bang Theory. Two very good shows. I'm a little bit more familiar with Seinfeld, and George is one heck of a character. He is hilarious. So I definitely have to agree with you on that, Sam. That is hilarious. And then Howard on The Big Bang Theory. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I heard that show is super funny. But thank you so much for commenting, Sam. And let's see. Greg Travis, he sent a GIF. He commented a GIF, and that looks like that is the one and only Barney Fife from the Andy Griffith Show. A hilarious character and a very hilarious, also wholesome show. Greg, thank you so much for commenting. That is hilarious. I wish I could pull up the full GIF, but I just took a screenshot of it. But I think that picture says it all. That is Barney Fife's character, if I've ever seen it. But thank you for commenting. That is just about all the time I have in today's Before the Four. I want to thank you all for sticking around and spending a little bit of your Tuesday afternoon with me. I hope you all enjoyed tonight's evening newscast and have a great remainder of your weekend, or not weekend, but a great remainder of your Tuesday. I'm already thinking about the weekend. That is hilarious, but a great remainder of your Tuesday evening. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you download the 48 Digital app as well as the 48 First Alert Weather app. And we now have the 48 Sports Zone app, which recently launched at the beginning of the month. Make sure you download that, especially if you are a sports fan and you like to follow the local teams here in North Alabama. Make sure you download that, turn on the push notifications, and get the breaking news delivered directly to you. But like I said, that is just about all the time I have. So you guys have a great rest of your evening and come back tomorrow. But let's end this right. I want to, of course, thank you for watching. You all have a great night.